Small Spaces 8. "Welcome to Misty Valley," Ms. Webster called, smiling. Her face looked pleasant now, wholesomely weathered. Her eyes were calm, sane. The streaky black makeup, the tears, the skull smile were all gone. She might have been a totally different person, except Ollie recognized her long amber honey braid. The bus sighed and settled. People were clogging up the aisle. Ollie hurriedly ducked her head, coughed into her hand, hoping Ms. Webster hadn't gotten a good look at her. She got off the bus and hid in a group of her classmates. Small spaces seemed to be lying extra heavy in her backpack. Maybe Ms. Webster's not crazy. Maybe she's really scared of something. But what? Ollie looked around. A red farmhouse stood on the top of a little rise. Just below lay a long, low barn. Behind the barn was a small slice of pasture, muddy and gently rolling with a herd of dairy cows. Chickens wandered around the open spaces between the buildings, pecking. Next to the cows, a field of late sunflowers nodded in the breeze. The sound of Lethe Creek came faintly to her ears, and the sun peered through the hurrying clouds, turning the leaves gold. Really nothing to be scared of. It was beautiful, except a group of 3 scarecrows stood on the edge of the parking lot, smiling, stitched-on smiles. Their garden rake hands were raised to wave. The tips of the rakes gleamed in the sun. Ollie kept turning. More scarecrows. Scarecrows everywhere. Someone had set up scarecrows between buildings, in the vegetable garden, on stakes in the cornfield. Their hands were trowels or garden rakes. Their smiles had been sewn or painted on. Scarecrows, Ollie thought uneasily, should not have been used for decoration. Piles of pumpkins were much better. But creepy though the scarecrows were, they hardly explained Linda Webster crying by the creek the day before. "Man," said Brian Battersby's voice behind her, "I wouldn't want to meet these guys on a dark night." Ollie turned. Brian was eyeing a particularly sinister scarecrow, tall, dressed in an old-fashioned black suit. It had garden forks for hands. "No," said Ollie, a little puzzled, but in complete agreement. Why was Brian even talking to her? I wouldn't either. Brian grinned at her and reached up to adjust the tall scarecrow's straw hat. "Good thing they're just scarecrows. Have fun today, Ollie Pop." He sauntered away with Phil and Mike. "Come over here, please. Gather round." The 6th grade clustered around Ms. Webster, except for Ollie, who hung back. "Welcome," Ms. Webster said. "We have a lovely program for you." Just then, the bus driver popped up beside her, pale, gray-bearded, and red-lipped. Where had he been? Also, did Ms. Webster flinch away from him slightly? Was he the one Ms. Webster was scared of? Maybe he'd made her go dump a book into Lethe Creek. But why? The bus driver's skin really was the gray-white of an old mushroom. Ollie loved mushrooms. On weekends, she and her mom used to go foraging for wild ones. It had been an autumn day, like this one, clouds chasing sun, when they had found Ollie's first chicken of the woods. "These are pretty rare, Olivia," her mom had said, glowing. "Look, chicken of the woods only grow out of the hearts of dying trees." She tapped the elm in question. "This tree is a goner. Forest rangers don't like to see chicken of the woods because they mean the good hardwoods are dying. But this mushroom?" "What?" Ollie cried, stroking the orange-red thing with a forefinger. "You'll see," said her mom, smiling, pulling out her pocket knife. Sure enough, the second they got home, Her dad whooped and said, "I'll make the batter." "No, sit down, both of you. You'll just get oil everywhere." That night they feasted on chicken fried wild mushrooms and mashed potatoes. Afterward, Ollie and her mother swam in the freezing creek and ate homemade ice cream. It was the best of days, but when Ollie's mom came to tuck her in that night, she found Ollie crying. "Olivia, are you okay?" she asked. "Does your tummy hurt?" Ollie shook her head. "I'm sad for the tree where the mushroom came from. It doesn't seem fair that it gave us the best and yummiest mushroom, and now it's just going to die." She buried her face in her pillow. That was back when she could cry over dumb things like elm trees. Her mother sighed and said, "No, it's not fair, but the tree gave us a gift. Even bad things can lead to good. Maybe in sad times, it helps to think of that." "Maybe," said Ollie, unconvinced. "If you like," said her mother, giving her a hug, "we can go visit the tree tomorrow and say thank you." "I'd like that," said Ollie, and wiped her nose. But they never did. First it rained, and then it snowed, and then Ollie got older and forgot. Now they wouldn't ever, and it didn't matter. Why did she even have to think of it?